Wizards just announced a new Secret Lair super drop featuring 7 new secret layers. They got some pretty unique art and some spicy reprints, but the question is, are any of these drops actually worth buying? That's what we're going to discuss right now. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for a daily dose of Secret Lair spoilers. So Wizards just announced the new Fall Super Drop. It's on sale right now. Like usual, you can pick up non-foil Secret Lairs for $30. Foil versions for $40, or get some bundles that get you a discount for getting a bunch of them at once. The question for today is, are any of these drops actually worth buying? And before we jump into the drops, I should say, in some sense, any Secret Lair can be worth buying. Like, if you just have some personal connection to the art, or really love the style, or really love the artist, even if the cards are pretty valueless and unplayable, it could still be right for you to pick up. But I can't judge Secret Lair drops based on how much you like the art, because that's like super subjective. So we're going to be focused more on the nuts and the bolts. The value, is it actually worth it from a financial perspective, a playability perspective, to pick up these cards? Of course, you also have another option, which is to not get the Secret Lair drop and snag the singles, maybe from our sponsor Card Kingdom over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Anyway, let's break down the new Secret Lair super drops. So first up today, we got the absolute Annihilation Lair drop, which has 4 cards: Oppression, Mass Hysteria, Terminate, and Abrade. And this is really like 2 kind of good cards and 2 not very good cards. I mean, Terminate and Abrade, they're the bad cards. They're not bad in the sense that they're not playable. Like, Terminate shows up in Modern a bit. Abrade sees play in a bunch of different formats. They're fine removal spells, but they're also commons with a bunch of different versions. Like, Terminate has so many promo printings that this is probably not even the coolest printing, depending on your personal taste. So the real 2 big cards here, Oppression and Mass Hysteria. Oppression is like $15, and I should say, for the rest of the video, when I refer to card prices, I'm going to be talking about the cheapest non-foil version of the card. Oppression actually only has 1 foil printing, and it's 7th edition, and 7th edition has notoriously expensive foils. It's like $350, but Secret Lair foils don't really react or count as real foils, because you can just buy the foils if you want to for 10 extra bucks when you get the Secret Lair drop. So the original Oppression foil being $350 just isn't actually relevant to our discussion. So Oppression's 15-ish bucks. Mass Hysteria is around 10 bucks. Although I think this drop is actually a little less valuable than you think, because Oppression was also just reprinted as an Enchanted Tale in Wilds of Eldraine, so I expect its price is about to take a tumble. This is the second reprinting in like a week, so even though it's $15 right now, I think that the Enchanted Tale version probably going to be like $5 or $2 or something. It's one of those cards that's mostly expensive because it hasn't been reprinted in like 20 years, and it only sees fringe playing Commander, so I think the price is due to drop. Mass Hysteria actually does see a reasonable amount of playing Commander. Just giving everything haste for 1 mana is not bad, so I think it is a legit $10 card, but again, that's mostly because it hasn't been reprinted in a while. So I think this Secret Lair drop, $30 to get like $23 worth of cards, with cards that are trending down, I would probably give this like a B- maybe, as far as being an actual good Lair drop to buy. Next up, we have the VHS Secret Lair drop, and this one definitely has some super unique art, but more importantly, it actually has an absurd amount of value. So the 2 big winners here: First Sliver in Food Chain. The First Sliver, when they designed this Secret Lair drop, was probably like a $15 card, and then you have Food Chain, which is like a $20 card. So a couple of months ago, this would have been an okay value Secret Lair drop, but then Commander Masters came along. They didn't reprint the First Sliver, but they made the Sliver Commander precon, and all the 5-color legendary slivers that didn't get reprinted shot up in price. So now the First Sliver is like a $55 card. Food Chain's still a $20 card. Rampant Growth Rewind, they're just the common flavor cards. So just the First Sliver and Food Chain, that makes this Secret Lair drop like an auto slam dunk. Not only is this the most valuable Secret Lair drop in this Secret Lair super drop, this is one of the most valuable we've seen in a long time. So if you're someone who picked up the Sliver Precon deck from Commander Masters and want to upgrade it, this is by far the cheapest way to get a First Sliver. You're getting like half price compared to just buying one on the secondary market, and you're getting a $20 Food Chain and a couple of other kind of unique art cards thrown in. So this, I think, is an easy S tier Secret Lair drop. This is one that I'm thinking of picking up just because it's good value. Like, I'm getting like $70 of cards, $80 of cards for 30 bucks. So it's just a good value from a financial perspective. So if you want the Sliver, if you want the Food Chain, or if you just want to make a financial play, this one seems seems like a really easy buy. Next up, we got Magic the Baseball League. And this one, it's really hard to judge. So on one hand, I would argue these baseball cards are some of the most unique Secret Lair drop cards we've gotten since probably the Ulamog serial drop, which was really popular. So I love personally the design on this. It really feels like an old baseball card. You gotta flip it around to see the stats on the back. Hopefully there's a piece of super stale gum in the pack. That would be the ultimate flavor win. But the fact remains that this is the Lorwyn 5 Planeswalkers. And in 2023, these Planeswalkers just really don't see much play. I guess Jace Bellerin sees a tiny amount of commander play. Garrick still has some fringe applications, but Ajani, Liliana, Chandra, those have mostly just been power crept out of Magic altogether. So value-wise, none of these cards are worth much. They've been reprinted a ton. They've kind of been power crept. But this is one of those drops that maybe there's an argument for getting just based on the art or whatever because it's super unique. We saw the Ulamog drop, the serial drop, be really popular. If you think this is going to have that same kind of like cult following just based on the designs of the cards, I can see an argument for picking it up, even though the Planeswalkers are pretty medium. I guess the way that comparison falls apart though is Ulamog's actually like a legit super expensive card and none of these are. So I guess I would say this is probably a B. I think it gets knocked up a tier just based on the fact that it's a super unique design, even for a Secret Lair drop. But at the same time, the actual cards just aren't very good by 2023 standards. If this was released in like 2008 or something, then we would really be in business. But in 2023, does the original Lorwyn 5 Planeswalkers really matter anymore? Not exactly. Next up, we got a Keep Partying Hard Secret Lair drop. This references a Secret Lair drop from like 2020, I think, the original Party Hard Secret Lair drop. So this pile of mostly unreadable cards, Tevishet Doom of Fools, Jeska Thrice Reborn, Vile Smasher the Fierce, and Godo Bandit Warlord. So on one hand, these cards aren't super valuable. I think Vile Smasher is actually the most valuable, and it's like $8 or something. All the other cards are worth less than that. On the other hand, this is a pretty playable Secret Lair drop. Like, Godo sees a lot of commander play as a combo piece. Vile Smasher, a pretty good partner, almost CDH style commander. And then the two Planeswalkers, like, they do have some uses. So even though the value isn't great, there is a lot of playability here, which again, I think would put this in like the B tier. It's definitely not a slam dunk because the value's not that high, but you are getting a lot of playability. The art style, I guess it depends on your personal preference. I find it kind of hard to read, which is a little bit annoying, but if you like the heavy metal style band poster thing, it is pretty cool. Next up, we got the Buggin' Out Lair drop, which is actually a lot like the last one. You get this really far out art style, but instead of heavy metal, it's more like 70s psychedelia, I guess. Can hardly read some of the cards, but whatever. As far as the actual cards, this is another drop that's pretty high on playability, but not especially high on value. So the most valuable card is actually right in the middle. Merry Cruel Death Priest, which is like $8, is a commander card, which occasionally sees a bit of play in sacrifice decks. Grist the Hungertide, Eldritch Evolution are both like legit modern staples, but they're only like $5. So value-wise, this lair drop isn't super good, but you are getting a couple of modern staples, a pseudo commander staple, and then Noxious Revival Giant Antiphage, not super playable, but you could potentially find uses for them. So I think this is another like B minus level Secret Lair drop. If you love the art style, it's fine to pick up, but the value's not high enough that it's like a slam dunk, you gotta grab it. We also got Artist Series Kev Walker. So this one's in some ways the odd drop out compared to the rest of them. We're talking about all these like wild baseball cards, 70s psychedelic art, metal poster art. This is just like really good Magic art by Kev Walker, very traditional. So if you're looking for a Secret Lair drop that looks a lot like a Magic card, but with really high quality Magic art, this is the one for you. As far as the cards, you got It That Betrays, Carnage Tyrant, Faber Welder, and Fleshbag Marauder. And none of these are like super valuable. I think that Carnage Tyrant's actually the biggest winner at like $9-ish, $8. It That Betrays like $6, Faber Welder's like $5, Fleshbag, random common. All these cards do see play though. It That Betrays kind of like reversed First Sliver. It was $30 $30 almost a few weeks ago, but it showed up in Commander Masters and dropped all the way down to $6. Carnage Tyrant shows up in Dinosaur decks, and we're going back to Ixalan, so could be in demand in the future. Fabro Elder and Mana Dork, that's also a combo piece sometimes if you can keep on tapping it. Fleshbig Marauder shows up in Sacrifice decks. So this is one of those drops that if you buy it, you will be able to get some playability out of all of your cards. Everyone goes into some popular commander archetype. On the other hand, if you just want these cards and you don't care about the super sweet Kev Walker art, you're going to be better off just grabbing the singles from Card Kingdom or whatever, because you're going to spend less money just snagging one copy of each and getting the cheapest version than you're going to spend getting the Secret Lair drop for $30. Last but not least, we get the traditional basic land drop, this time featuring Gary Baseman, who is a pretty well-known illustrator, artist, that's done a bunch of different stuff over the course of his career. So basic land drops are pretty interesting. There was a time when Secret Lairs first released that they were actually pretty undervalued. Everyone thought that why would I pay a bunch of money for basic lands? So no one bought them, and then it turned out that a lot of the basic lands ended up being really valuable on the secondary market. But time has passed, people have started to realize that people will actually pay a lot of money for specific basic lands, so I don't think they're worth nearly as much as they used to be. They're no longer undervalued, they're fairly valued. So I think this is one of those drops that if you really love Gary Baseman and you want to use these lands in your deck, it's probably going to be fine value. Don't think of them like normal basic lands. These will be scarce enough that 5 years from now, if you want to trade them, they're going to be worth a few bucks. I don't think they're going to be a slam dunk and be worth, $20 a piece or something, but you should be able to get more value out of them than you would a normal basic land. So if you're a Gary Baseman fan, go for it. The only problem we have with these land drop Secret Lairs is you just don't get enough of them. What are you going to do with one of each basic? That's kind of the problem. So I guess if you want to actually play a deck, you'd have to order like 1 million of these, and that's way too expensive.
$11 billion. That's not even a real number.
Yet.
So I guess if you're someone who likes mismatch art or just really likes Gary Baseman and wants to like frame them and put them on a shelf somewhere, it's kind of cool. Otherwise, I don't know. Another take it or leave it B tier style layer drop. Anyway, that's the new Secret Lair super drop. So overall, I would say there is one auto buy in my opinion, which is the first sliver drop, just based on value and playability. I think this one is really, really hard to pass up. I don't really buy Secret Lairs for the most part, and I'm going to pick up a couple of these just because getting the first sliver for $30 and a food chain as a bonus is just such a really good deal that I think it's worth it just from that perspective. So this one is the S tier slam dunk. The rest of them, there are a whole bunch of drops that are like $25 worth of cards that you're paying $30 plus shipping. So none of them are so bad that it's like, please don't buy this, it's a disaster. But none of them are so valuable that it's like, I really got to snap this off. Like the first sliver drop, just from a value perspective. And it feels like Wizards has like really tried to make Secret Lair drops this way. I really think the first sliver Secret Lair drop was an accident. I think their goal was to have this be like, somewhere around $30 worth of cards, $35 worth of cards. But then the first sliver spiked just a few weeks ago, and Wizards didn't have any control over that. And now it's like super duper plus EV because of the Commander Masters price spikes. So I don't think that was Wizards' goal, though. I don't think they were trying to give us $80 worth of cards for $30. I think they were trying to give us like $35 worth of cards for $30, which is an okay but not insane deal. The rest of the lair drops, you're not going to do poorly to pick them up, I guess, but none of them seem like auto buys to me. They're all in that tier of like, if you really like the art, or you really need the card, or you really love the artist, it's fine value, but none of them are positive EV, and none of them are like super duper exciting. So anyway, let me know what you think about the new fall super drop. Are you picking any of these up? Which art do you like the most? Do you like the wild different baseball cards and VHS cards? Do you prefer the more traditional Magic art? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Looking for even more Magic? Well, check out yesterday's video where we comboed off with Smog in Historic, or maybe last week's Mucha Brew where we tried to find out if Modern 8 Rack is now a scam.